Hi guys, here from Pax Europiana from the Georgian Freedom Square. No country in Europe had to fight harder for its freedom than Georgia. It was permanently occupied, similar actually like Ukraine. And that's a really big tragedy. They always wanted to be free. They are freedom-loving people. They have here this Freedom Square, very beautifully in the center of Tbilisi. It's a place where they make a lot of solidarity statement. Here from Georgia with Ukraine, you see everywhere Ukrainian flags, and they are really for Ukraine 100% and for freedom. They never wanted to be in the Russian Empire. No. They never wanted to be. They were occupied. They never wanted to be in the Soviet Union. They were occupied in 1920 in the framework of the Russian Civil War, and once that was won, the reconquest by the Soviet Union of the former Russian Empire. And they never wanted to be in the Soviet Union. They broke away from the 9th of April 89. Constantly they called for freedom, and the Lithuanians as well. I don't want to, it's a competition who is the one nation who really brought down the Soviet Union, but Georgia is the number one. Their movement of freedom has brought down the Soviet Union, and we owe you something, Georgia, for that. It was an evil empire, and I'm very grateful. I personally was an army officer in Austria, trained to fight the Soviet Union to defend our country 30 years ago, and I'm very happy that I never had to test it. Now I'm too old to fight, but I'm fighting in this modest way for freedom with my podcast. And I say thank you very much, Georgia, that you did that, bringing down that evil empire, and it had never to come to a disaster. And now you are free, and it's our moral and historic and political and strategic obligation, and I think, no question, it's our duty to get Georgia in the European Union and to make sure that this beautiful country and the freedom you have fought so hard to get is then secured inside the Union of Freedom, the European Union, and NATO, by the way. It's much better to be both united, and freedom is indivisible. It's the Western free world. It's not exclusively for the West. It's for everybody freedom important. But Georgia has opted for the West. They want to join. Who are we to reject a European nation, Mr. Macron? How come you do that? Yeah? They have fought against the Soviet Union. They are Europeans. They are Christians. They want to be free from Russia, and Russia is just on the other side of the Caucasus, and they have even broken through in Abkhazia and South Ossetia. It's a dangerous, toxic and criminal enterprise what the Russians are doing, and we need to protect our friends and partners, otherwise we are really a shameful pack. We must be ready to integrate Georgia and to secure Georgia from such terrible fate, to be again occupied by such an evil empire as Russian Federation has turned into under Putin. And we all knew it from Chechnya, we all knew it from Syria, from Georgia in 2008 when we did so little, when they occupied another part of Georgia in order to have a bridgehead on the south of the Caucasus, in order to be in striking distance of Tbilisi with their Soviet Russian troops. And that's what they are now, and that's very dangerous, and that's why they are all looking north to the Caucasus Mountains, and they don't know what's waiting for them, because we leave them alone, we don't secure them, and the French are ready again to sacrifice them on the kind of strange policy of appeasement which has already led to the war in Georgia, to the war in Ukraine since 2014, and to the complete escalation of appeasement, resulting in the complete horror of that war, and to this enormous costs of this war. And I remind all these people like Sebastian Kurz always saying at DPP summit, Ukraine is too expensive. And how expensive it turned out to be now because of our failed foreign policy. The same was happening in Syria. The disasters of our foreign policy always result in a huge cost for the European taxpayers. And I'm, as a taxpayer representative, makes me really angry. If we just would do the right thing and have Georgia in the European Union from the start, when George Bush said it in Bucharest with NATO membership, we could have avoided hundreds and billions of euros of costs for European taxpayers, and so much life and misery would have been avoided and life saved. Yeah? So that's my message here at Freedom Square. We owe you something, Georgia. You need to join the European Union, and by the way NATO, and by the way the euro, adopt the euro, in order to make it very clear that the future is Europe. Europe is freedom. We are the defense of freedom. It's not true what some Eurosceptics say, that we are somehow problematic in terms of freedom. No, we can improve as well. But overall the freedom score is positive, of course, by far. Europe is the answer to the Russian war, and we need you inside, and we need to have the defense of freedom organized by all Europeans together, as we did it when it was the time for the Korea War. We created Europe, Afghanistan war, we enlarged Europe, and then of course the Balkan wars, again we enlarged Europe, the Afghanistan war in between, yeah? And all these Soviet-inspired wars, these kind of socialist wars of aggressions, they have led to more European unity, and so will this escalation of the Ukrainian war as well result in Ukraine joining the European Union, and in Georgia and Moldova and the Western Balkans. At least most. Serbia, we have to see if they're ready to turn to the West, because one thing is sure, Georgia is much more pro-European than Serbia today. You see Ukraine flags and European flags everywhere. You don't see so much NATO flags because they are afraid. We might have to understand that for the moment, but I'm also calling for NATO membership of this beautiful republic, and for America to protect Georgia, and for Europe to protect Georgia, and to protect the freedom of the Georgians. Thanks a lot for that. I say goodbye now from the Georgian Square. I'm on the way to Batumi, and I will be coming back with more information and more updates, more videos, more tweets from European Georgia. And please support Georgia in the European Union. It needs it to defend its freedom, and that's very important, and that has to happen now. Thanks a lot. All the best from Freedom Square. Bye.